저는 만 5살에 바이올린을 시작했는데요. 바이올린 소리를 워낙 좋아했어서 그 특유의 따뜻함과 약간 사람의 목소리 같은 목소리를 갖고 있거든요, 바이올린이. 저는 무대에 올랐을 때보다는 이제 혼자 연습할 때 더 큰 희열을 느끼는데 제가 표현하고자 하는 음악이 잘 나왔을 때 그때 가장 큰 기쁨을 느끼는 것 같아요. 그래서 저만의 색깔을 어떻게 하면 찾아갈 수 있을까 그걸 제일 많이 고민하는 것 같아요. 아무래도 연습을 할 때는 이제 생각과 고민을 많이 하는 반면에 무대에서 연주할 때는 정말 머릿속을 비우고 아무 생각도 안 하려고 하는 것 같아요. 무대에서는 자유롭게 콩쿨 무대도 저만의 독주라고 생각하는 자세를 가지려고 하고 있어요. 사실 바이올린과는 거의 제 인생의 대부분을 같이 해왔기 때문에 저를 힘들게 할 때도 많지만 제가 가장 사랑하고 아끼는 존재입니다. 작곡가가 전달하고 싶은 메시지와 또 제 자신이 관객들에게 전달하고 싶은 메시지를 모두 다 설득력 있게 잘 전달할 수 있는 그런 연주자가 되고 싶습니다.
U.S. President Donald Trump struck a softer tone on China amid concerns of a new trade war. He now says the United States does not seek to harm China, but to help it. Israelis and Palestinians now await a hostage prisoner swap, as all of the living hostages in Gaza and Palestinian detainees in Israel are expected to be released on Monday morning, local time. At South Korea's National Assembly, the first audit under the Lee Jae-myung administration is set to kick off today, and it's expected to become a political battleground. Eyes are now on the ruling Democratic Party's questioning of Chief Justice Choo Lee-dae, who faces allegations of election interference. Hello and thanks for joining our noon edition of Arirang News. We begin today with trade tensions between the world's two largest economies. U.S. President Donald Trump seems to be extending an olive branch to China's Xi Jinping after he threatened to impose higher tariffs on Beijing. Trump said neither he nor Xi Jinping wants their countries to face a recession. Our Lee Seung-jae starts us off.
Amid rising concerns that the United States and China could reignite a trade war through ultra-high tariffs and export controls, U.S. President Donald Trump struck a notably softer tone on Sunday. According to Trump, the U.S. does not seek to harm China, but to help it. His remarks came just 2 days after he announced a 100% tariff in response to China's rare earth export controls and hinted at boycotting a face-to-face meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping at the upcoming APEC summit. Trump also took to Truth Social to note that neither he nor Chinese President Xi Jinping wants a recession. Meanwhile, U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance spoke to Fox News on Sunday and expressed hope that Beijing will choose a rational path, stressing that the U.S. president holds far more cards than China. Vance also said he had spoken with Trump over the weekend, noting Trump's appreciation for the relationship with China, but emphasizing the significant leverage Washington holds. U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer criticized China's rare earth export controls, revealing that Washington was not notified in advance, despite Beijing's claims. Greer said that Washington learned through public sources and immediately contacted China, but Beijing deferred taking the call. Greer stressed that power plays by China will not be tolerated. Still, Greer left the door open for dialogue, noting that the U.S. has already made working-level contact with China and will wait to see if Beijing is interested in high-level talks to ease tensions. The latest developments suggest Washington is preparing for both pressure and diplomacy, with the next steps likely hinging on China's response ahead of the APEC summit later this month. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
Meanwhile, over in the Middle East, as the first phase of the ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas takes effect, hostages are set to be released today. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump has departed for a visit to Israel before traveling to Egypt for a world leaders summit on ending the Gaza war. Our An Sung-jin has the details.
Ahead of the set release on Monday of Israeli hostages held by Hamas, large crowds including families of the hostages have gathered in Tel Aviv for the anticipated return.
We're very thrilled about this. And then on the other hand, for us, for the families of the murdered hostages, there's a lot of anxiety.
The ceasefire deal demands the return of all hostages taken captive during the Hamas attack on October 7, 2023. 20 hostages are believed to be alive, and Hamas is also to hand over the remains of 28 dead hostages. Trump, who put forth the agreement, has departed for Israel, and when asked how confident that the war was finished, he told reporters that the war is over and that the deal will hold as he sets to seal the agreement.
This is the first time everybody is amazed and they're thrilled, and it's an honor to be involved.
Trump is due to arrive in Israel on Monday to address the Israeli parliament before heading to Egypt for a world leaders summit on ending the Gaza war. The first phase agreement between Israel and Hamas had been mediated by the United States, Egypt, Qatar, and Turkey for the release of the Israeli hostages as well as Palestinian prisoners held by Israel. But despite the ceasefire, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu warned that military operations were not over yet.
The battle is not over. There are still very serious security challenges ahead. Some of our enemies are trying to recover so they can attack us again.
Meanwhile, Gaza's Civil Defense Agency noted that more than 500,000 people have returned to parts of northern Gaza after the ceasefire was declared. An Song-jin, Arirang News.
And meanwhile, here in South Korea, a day after a high-level government meeting addressed rising house prices in the Seoul and Gyeonggi-do regions, attention now turns to the National Assembly, where the first audit under the Lee Jae-myung administration is set to begin today. Our political correspondent Moon Hae-ryun has the details.
The new administration's first National Assembly audit kicks off on Monday, just a day after top officials met to discuss housing market instability and broader economic issues. During Sunday's meeting at the Prime Minister's official residence, the ruling Democratic Party government and presidential office agreed to unveil new measures this week to curb the overheated housing market in Seoul and Gyeonggi-do province. A senior spokesperson said that both sides acknowledge the need for fundamental and comprehensive solutions to safeguard housing security and restore economic stability. That same meeting also set the tone for Monday's parliamentary audit, with the ruling bloc calling for the normalization of state affairs and the recovery of public livelihoods. But from the outset, the audit sessions are expected to become political battlegrounds. 17 standing committees will examine more than 800 government agencies through October to early November, covering both the previous Yoon Suk-yeol administration and the current government's 4 months in power. The Legislation and Judiciary Committee opened first with a contentious review of the Supreme Court. The Democratic Party plans to question Chief Justice Choi Lee over alleged election interference and has warned there'll be a compulsory attendance order if he refuses to appear. The People Power Party is pushing back, calling such demands a violation of judicial independence and a threat to the separation of powers. Later this week, the Science and ICT Committee is expected to debate the arrest of former Korea Communications Commission Chair Lee Jin-suk and the government's plan to abolish the agency altogether. Beyond domestic politics, lawmakers are also preparing to address the death of a Korean student in Cambodia, an issue both parties say underscores the need for stronger protection of citizens abroad. With the audit set to run for nearly a month, Monday marks the start of a heated session where political accountability and policy oversight will collide. Moon Hae-ryun, Arirang News.
South Korean police are ramping up the response to a surge in crimes targeting Koreans in Cambodia. The Korean National Police Agency announced on Sunday it will hold a bilateral meeting with Cambodian police on the 23rd in Seoul to sign an MOU for the establishment of a Korean desk and discuss dispatching Korean officers. The Korean desk is a system where Korean police are stationed overseas to work directly with local authorities on crimes involving Koreans. Authorities say the new Korean desk will improve cooperation and strengthen their ability to respond to organized multinational crime groups operating in Cambodia. Calls to send additional Korean police officers on top of those attached to the embassy have intensified after a Korean college student was allegedly tortured to death in Cambodia in August. And South Korean power plant equipment manufacturer Doosan Enerbility has secured its first gas turbine export contract, under which it will deliver 2 380-megawatt turbines to an undisclosed major U.S. tech firm by the end of next year. This marks the first time the company has struck a deal to export its gas turbines overseas. In 2019, Doosan Enerbility became the 5th company in the world to secure gas turbine technology through joint domestic industry academic cooperation. According to the company, the surge in power demand from data centers, driven by the rise of AI use, was behind the overseas order. And South Korea's Jeollabuk-do province has been working to host the 2036 Summer Olympics. And as part of its efforts to secure the bid and promote Korean culture in Africa, a delegation from the province visited Zimbabwe, the home country of the President of the IOC. Our Cha Yun-kyung tells us more.
Bulawayo is the second city of Zimbabwe, a landlocked country on the African continent. Bulawayo was the first destination for the country's first K-Festival, where visitors could make their own traditional Korean items, such as hats and fans.
Oh, I really love this event. as a person who loves Korean culture.
Just like the Experience Zone, the concert hall also proved popular. The crowd was excited to hear the 2012 hit Gangnam Style and went wild when the trending hit K-pop Demon Hunters OST came on. Even though the traditional performances like Pansori and Samulnori might have been unfamiliar, the African audience responded with great enthusiasm.
Beautiful, exciting, we really enjoyed it, and we wish that this performance can continue as if we're having the festival in Bulawayo here in Zimbabwe again. Thank you. Kamsahamnida.
Korea Festival 2025 continued the next day in Harare, the capital and largest city of Zimbabwe. This time, the venue was the Korean ambassador's residence, and the main guests were diplomats from various countries, as well as influential figures from Zimbabwe's political, social, and sports sectors.
Appreciate and have seen how great the traditional sound of South Korea through its arts, through its music, and through its dance. It has been an amazing.
Jeollabuk-do Province, which has announced its bid to host the 2036 Summer Olympics, aims to make the Olympics a cultural event. The delegation from Jeollabuk-do Province made the long journey all the way to Africa, since Zimbabwe is the homeland of the newly elected president of the International Olympic Committee, Kirsty Coventry. 차윤경, Arirang News.
This is The World Now, bringing you the latest stories from around the globe. In France, newly reappointed Prime Minister Sébastien Lecornu has announced a new government, his second such in a week, as he tries to steady the country after days of political chaos and rebuild confidence in France's economy. The 39-year-old centrist and ally of President Emmanuel Macron presented the cabinet on Sunday, a mix of Macron's loyalists, moderate conservatives, and figures from outside politics. Lecornu was reappointed on Friday after resigning earlier in the week, after his first government collapsed within hours of its formation. The new cabinet faces a fractured parliament where Macron's centrist bloc has lost its majority. The right-wing National Rally is demanding new elections, while the left-wing France Unveils wants the president to resign. Economists say Lecornu's first test will be delivering a credible 2026 budget to ease market jitters as France's debt climbs above 110% of GDP. Analysts warn that without stability, investor confidence could erode further across Europe. In the United States, police in South Carolina are searching for a gunman who killed 4 people and injured at least 20 others after opening fire at a crowded bar on St. Helena Island, about 40 kilometers south of Charleston. The shooting happened around 2 a.m. Sunday at a local bar. Witnesses say a fight broke out before the subject started firing indiscriminately. According to the Beaufort County Sheriff's Office, several victims remain in critical condition. U.S. Representative Nancy Mace took to social media to say she was, quote, completely heartbroken by the shooting. Gun control advocates say it underscores America's unrelenting gun violence crisis, with more than 500 mass shootings recorded this year. U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance has warned that more layoffs are coming if the government shutdown continues, saying, quote, the longer this goes on, the deeper the cuts will be. The shutdown, now in its 3rd week, has left hundreds of thousands without pay and forced thousands of federal layoffs, including at the CDC. Officials later reinstated about 700 workers after they said some notices were sent in error. Meanwhile, the standoff began on October 1st over health insurance subsidies in the budget. Oscar-winning actress Diane Keaton has died aged 79. According to People magazine, the star of Annie Hall, the movie for which she won the Oscar for Best Actress in 1978, died in California on Sunday. A spokesperson for her family said there were no further details, but asked for privacy. Keaton also starred in a range of Hollywood classics in a career spanning 5 decades, from The Godfather to Something's Gotta Give. Known for her trademark hats, men's suits, and witty dialogue delivery, she brought both warmth and quirk to the screen. Tributes are pouring in from across Hollywood, including from former co-star Goldie Hawn, who took to social media to say, quote, "You've left us with a trail of fairy dust filled with particles of light and memories beyond imagination." Chu Ji-hyun, Arirang News.
For many of you returning to work after a long Chuseok holiday, it surely will feel like a long and busy week. The new week starts with more rain, which has been falling across the central regions of the country. Those rain clouds will gradually expand, reaching the southern coast later this afternoon, then make their way to Jeju tomorrow. And east of Gangwon-do province could see 120 millimeters of downpours. The capital region will get 10 to 50 millimeters. The clouds and rain will certainly keep a lid on our daytime temperatures. The capital area will not see much difference in temperatures, but T-shirt weather continues on Jeju with a record-breaking October warmth. Further south, we'll have much warmer daytime highs with lesser precipitation, topping out at 26 degrees in Gwangju and Busan this afternoon. Now make sure to keep your umbrella handy. Rain is in the forecast for the entire week. Then we're jumping right into late autumn once all the rain goes away.
Now that is all we have for this edition of Arirang News. Thank you for watching. We'll be back at 5 p.m. Korea time. Stay tuned.
비행기처럼